Good evening, my DeeAnimations fans! And finally, after God knows how long, over a year has passed, the finale of Helluva Boss is out. Yeah, and I don't even know how to react to all of this. The thing is, this is the finale of the first season, and there's have already been 4 episodes of the second season. And that famous episode, known as the Beautiful Filler, evokes mixed emotions in my opinion. It is influenced by certain factors and details that, while not so important for the whole series, but managed to spoil the experience for this particular episode. And however, from a global perspective, this episode is actually quite good. And those who watched it can also say the same. And after all, it's not as explicit as the all other episodes of Helluva Boss, so personally, I like this episode much more than any others. And now, let's just discuss everything in order, shall we? For me, actually, it's quite amazing that the second season is already on YouTube, while the first one just ended now. Like, there aren't many examples like this in the animation industry, and well, I guess maybe 1 in a million, I think. Well, I've never come across such a thing. And Helluva Boss just became that example. But what about the episode in the end? Also known as the most delayed finale of the first season among all other season finales. And let's just start perhaps with the elephant in the room, or rather the most important detail for which the episode was probably created, and that is Kesha. And so, it can be said without a doubt that Vivienne's longtime dream has finally come true. The singer whom Vivienne collaborated with animators to create the Die Young music video has finally voiced a character in the Vivienne series and even sang a song about cotton candy in the same episode. This of course adds a certain charm to it. Although the song is not particularly deep and does not touch any internal struggles of the characters, and you have to admit that it is quite pleasant to listen to, and perhaps one of the best songs in Helluva Boss. It is perfectly suited for such a casual episode filled with an easygoing atmosphere, unlike other vulgar things that I often encounter in Helluva Boss. This party, which can be considered as a feast of gluttony, was quite pleasant and visually quite beautiful. Oh man, and this white behave-shaped building is just super cool. I don't know, I just like this combination. And everything looks much more civilized than I expected. Damn, even the demons here are quite pleasant. There's no blatant vulgarity that can become an eyesore. So yeah, it's quite nice. Anyway, the song is beautiful, and the atmosphere is relaxed, without any active plot development. Oh yeah, and this is unfortunately the problem with this episode. You cannot expect any plot here, let me tell you that, although it is supposed to be the finale. Yeah, and how can I explain it to you? Well, the entire television industry with animations, cartoons, series, you get the idea, has trained us year after year, decade after decade, that season finales are usually plot-driven, and that's the rule of thumb. And Vivienne decided to be fancy by making a filler episode the finale. Well, I don't know, it's probably unprecedented. But after the visual euphoria, when you have already enjoyed the party and the beautiful designs, all that stuff, you start to notice the character of Kesha, who is called Queen Bee. And the most interesting thing is, I didn't quite understand, so she for a moment is the leader of the demons Beelzebub? One of the mortal sins, gluttony. Or is it just some strange theory that for some reason was everywhere in all the comments and all the videos, so that Queen Bee is Beelzebub, like B equals Beelzebub, well, you get the idea, that's the analogy. Immediately questions start to arise. Why did Beelzebub, the embodiment of gluttony, take an interest in a regular vortex? Well, let's just say he's just a hunting dog. Okay, he doesn't really stand out, and I wonder what could have attracted one of the rulers of hell to him. Well, this is just a strange situation, well, in my opinion, of course, and I just don't see any similarities between them. Well, let's just say they wrote the character that way. I won't criticize that too much, but personally, it seems strange to me that the Queen of Hell, one of the rulers of Hell, is involved with a dog. Well, just some dog and the Queen of Gluttony in a relationship, that's just weird. And Luna was also surprised by such a turn of events, which led to her most logical decision, namely just to leave the party. Well, and not to ruin anyone's lives. I don't know, I respect that approach, and in general, she decided to get the hell out of this gathering, or rather to Helluva Daddy, while shedding a few tears over unrequited love. I don't really see any dynamics in Luna and Vortex's relationship. Well, suppose she's in love with him, obviously it started from the very first episode when she met him. But it turns out that Luna's character breaks down in the car. Because of the completely stretched reason in the form of another sexy wolf, she decides to stay at the party, to which Blitz reluctantly agrees, and overall it's just a strange, slightly plot-breaking move for Luna's character, without which all the subsequent episodes would not have happened if she hadn't made that decision. But on the other hand, looking at Luna, I don't believe she would have agreed to continue partying with them. It seems to me that it doesn't suit her as a character, but what do you think? Of course, write down in the comments below. But personally, I believe that during all the time we were shown her character, she wouldn't have agreed to go partying with them because of such stretched jokes, considering that she already cried about it and decided to leave. Well, okay. Such a sudden change in the mood for a character slightly ruins the overall mood and the tone of the episode. And theoretically, Vivienne and the team should have understood that by abruptly pulling the viewers out of the empathy for the character and their problem, they create a feeling that these very problems and emotions are just empty noise for the character. And then just with one flick of the writer's pen, the viewer simply starts forgetting it instantly and considers it insignificant. Well, I'm curious, am I supposed to empathize Luna and her problems, even if she herself does not attach any significance to them? I mean, as a viewer, I look at this, and it turns out that what supposedly mattered to Luna is actually unimportant. Why should I care about all her other actions anyway? I will just continue to believe that most events are insignificant for Luna. It, well, prevents me from emphasizing with her, although I want to empathize with her. After all, she's just a cute little wolfie. Well, you get the idea. Okay, let's move on. Let's continue watching the series, attributing everything to her incredibly changeable mood and not objectively evaluating even significant problems. But someone who truly forgot about all the problems and had every right to do so was Blitzy. Yeah, I don't know, he's doing great in this episode. He got drunk and he outdrank the sin of gluttony. Just think about it. God, and I give a separate like for this episode. He didn't behave too vulgarly, he didn't even seem like a jerk, but at the same time he was completely in his element and appeared to be as he always should have been. It's amazing how Blitz is shown as a much cooler character here than in some other episodes. Damn, gluttony. What is that even? So it turns out he's dating one of the demons of Goetia, well, one of the princes. Outdrinks demon of gluttony, maybe he's also somehow connected to Mammon. In general, this is just a complete mess, and he's just a nymph. But after all these connections, you can't just say he is an ordinary demon, right? Nevertheless, I really enjoyed watching Blitz fool around, and even more so the dynamics of Luna and Blitz's relationship here, especially when she starts cheering him up to get drunk with Beelzebub. But it was very cute, even somewhat familial. She really supports her adoptive father. It's really cool. And well, however, as usual, the fun is always ruined by the anxious party guests, and namely Vortex and Queen Bee, who literally create the plot conflict out of, well, just nothing. Well, they said something like, Blitz's behavior at the party is excessively vulgar and he shouldn't be here right now. And Luna, you need to do something about this. And I mean, what are you talking about? What? That's weird, like many things in this series. Isn't this the essence of this grand party? Well, all the sceners are having a blast however they can, and Blitz, he just got wasted. He got high and he's just, well, hanging out with everyone. He didn't start a fight, he didn't divide all the demons by zero, although he absolutely can do that, he is capable of doing that, and he didn't really bother anyone. But overall, there is still something, some grain in it, because essentially what this conflict is, which is sucked out of the air, it gives us as viewers that Luna cares for her father. I really like that she stood up for him. She confronted one of the high-ranking demons, she even slapped some guy who was hitting on Blitz and sailed away from this party to safely put Blitz to sleep. And even here, there is some drama, which is not bad at all. Well, drunk Blitzy talks about some truly heartfelt things. He says that he empathizes with whether Luna will be there when he, well, probably dies. Luna doesn't quite understand this, but Blitz continues, spewing some drunken nonsense that is somewhat emotional, and it actually looks heartfelt, and many people have had similar moments in their lives. And it would be just really nice. I genuinely empathize with the characters in this moment. And in this one moment, the series blossoms. Like, not just the beautiful parties, but also have some sort of a moral, well, I don't know, particle, a spark for the characters. And Blitz pukes it all out. Yeah, it was just a huge vomit. Thank God not from the ass. I mean, screw it. Well, that's why I don't like modern humor. Screw it, they just create good drama, a good conflict. I empathize with the characters who are sometimes asshole by definitions. I like how they talk now, they reveal their souls, they open themselves, and then they just throw it in some vulgar joke or just puke it all out. And all the mood disappears. Man, it's just sad, come on. Of course, someone perceives this as a joke, that something interesting happens and then everything is ruined. Well, I just cannot take it seriously. Allow it when seriousness begins, so that seriousness remains seriousness or gradually transitions to positivity, and not instantly interrupted by a joke. Well, this is just wrong. In the end, because of this, the episode feels like empty, I don't know. Even though Vivienne fulfilled her long-time dream by inviting Kesha for one of the roles, moreover she even performed the song, and the song is goddamn good. Animation and everything related to Kesha's character, well, Queen Bee, Beelzebub, I hope I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen any accurate information anywhere that it is Beelzebub. Everything is definitely hints at this, but if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. So, all the scenes with her songs, when she's animated, everything looks really beautiful. Sometimes you can't even believe that it is on YouTube. And of course, some animation professionals will surely criticize everything that is in the episode, and believe me, I know that there is something to criticize. The scene cuts, angles, well, some colors, and so on. But that's the prerogative of the animation professionals. They know what's wrong, and for the mass audience, for me as just a viewer, I can say that everything is above average. Everything is good, and that's enough, especially for YouTube. But also consider that from a global perspective and from the perspective of the professionals. There are also many problems here, and if you want, I could just start dissecting it, but I think we don't need that right now, right? After all, this episode is overall average. It's not just a terrible failure for me to take down it and criticize it. Why? In any case, Vivienne's deserve a congratulations, because her dream has come true, has finally come true. She invited a singer whom she collaborated with the Die Young music video, which had to be hidden, and I'll tell you about it a little bit later, and rewarded her with a voice and a character. And now it's an official character in the Helluva Boss, in this whole Hell universe. It's cool, and maybe it wasn't a surprise for special fans. It seemed obvious to everyone that in this episode Kesha would sing a song, but in any case, it should have left some wow effect. And many people liked it, especially I'm reading your comments, and you guys seem to like it. You guys seem to like the song, and the music video, and in general, it's probably one of the best in Helluva Boss. Probably in the top 5, right? How you personally rate them, just to write down in the comments. However, on a global scale, Bee is not such a magnificent character. I didn't have enough time to fully immerse myself with her. And however, when Asmodeus appeared, he was just bursting with expressions. You immediately understood who he was. But with Bee, there wasn't anything like that. Although, the song is good, and obviously it was performed by a super singer, but well, on a global scale, Queen Bee will be remembered by the audience not because she has a cool song and animation, and not because the character is overloaded with stylistic details. Rather, she'll be remembered precisely because of this. The Die Young music video was taken down because of this. Because, well, that's why we waited for this episode for over a year. Because Vivienne probably invited Kesha to voice a character, she agreed, and then the question arose, like, why does her channel have a music video with Kesha's song? And apparently there was a long legal dispute, I guess a year-long one. And trials, yeah, they take a long time, guys. And until Vivienne or Kesha or someone else explain to us in detail what the problem is, until then, this seems to be the most reasonable reason why this episode was delayed. Not because of the plot, and not because it's the appearance of one of the supreme demons. No, it's all because of the song. Yeah, that's the whole problem. Well, in the end, I'm just glad that everything was resolved, and the episode still came out. But we waited for it for a long time, and there was no need to wait. It's just a filler. It won't really affect the plot, so if someone had high expectations, well, sorry, yeah, it was all in vain. The episode wasn't worth of anticipation. It's average, beautiful, with a good song, an attempt at moral lesson that Blitz vomited out. But overall, as you understand, it's not something magnificent. nor this is something bad. As for the other details, again, conflicts made up of the thin air, which makes the dynamics of the episode extremely flat, which can be equated to its absence. But it's a party, you can let it slide. This approach in general does not correspond with the season finale in any way, and as I already said, as a viewer who has been accustomed for the decades to the fact that season finale is usually important, it's problematic to watch such a season finale. Even in the format of such an episode, it would have been possible to write a proper conflict and not contradict the image of the central character of this episode, and that is Luna. Blitz is once again completely in his element, and he is magnificent here. In the case of Luna's behavior in this series, it's not the character development, but rather a direct contradiction to her established character that viewers had in their minds for a long time. This storyline throws them off the balance and leads to dissonance because of this previously established image of Luna does not align with the Lunas in the new series. As for the visual component, it is more than just acceptable. As I have already expressed myself, many say that the animation in this episode is just a perfect 11 out of 10. But I'm not such an avid fan to claim that it is just a masterpiece of animation, but, well, it's good. Upon the first viewing, you don't notice any problems. There are no major issues with the episode on a global scale. Yeah, professionals may find some inconsistencies or other animations flaws, but the animation in this series, I must agree, it is quite good. Some might be bothered by Bee overly fancy design and excessive colorfulness. She even hints herself that she has a rainbow. Well, it doesn't matter. It is subjective and a matter of personal taste, I guess. Personally, her design didn't impress me as much as Asmodeus. Asmodeus is just magnificent. Bee, on the other hand, is just a beautiful looking wolf, reminding someone of a bee, some sort, but also with a rainbow. Someone said she looks like a Princess Celestia or Luna from My Little Pony. Well, in general, there are some amusing little things. So, let's summarize. Despite all its significant shortcomings, which, let's agree, exist, if you're a die-hard fan of Helluva Boss, at least don't argue that the series is a masterpiece. It has its problems, but that's also not a reason to hate it outright. There are problems, but they're not global. The episode turned out to be a decent filler for just a one-time watch. In fact, I'm not that interested in rewatching this episode, maybe just listening to the song again. The appearance of Kesha can genuinely surprise the average viewer. Her song resonated with many and was liked by many. Well, those who expected some plot should watch it with their brains turned off, and then the episode will work. After all, it doesn't aim for anything grand or character development whatsoever. Even any attempt at character development, especially towards the end, is thrown out of the script, so there's no character development whatsoever. Perhaps there is an obvious tonal dip in the middle of this episode, but it's just not as noticeable as in other episodes of Helluva Boss. And well, if you watch this episode without being biased, without any expectations, and without intentionally hating it, it can entertain you and possibly even bring some pleasure. I can confirm that. It's just that, well, you know, it's more accurate to call this an episode that it's like just a beautiful wrapper without just the candy, without a candy, right? You can look at it at once, but you won't taste it. Of course, if you're just a fan of beautiful wrappers, then yes, well, the song is good anyway. So here's how the finale of the first season turned out. So yeah, we finally finished dissecting the first season of the Helluva Boss. And the second season, however, has 4 episodes. Well, I will never forget the moment when the first season ended long after the second season began. And that's all, well, I guess that's what Helluva Boss will be remembered for me in general, but never mind. As for my opinion on this episode, I think you understood. Now I'm curious to know what you think, guys. After all, the episode is controversial. Some say it's bad, nothing special, others say it's fantastic, a perfect 11 out of 10. And as usual, opinions are divided into 2 halves. I prefer to be somewhere in the middle. So, stick around, subscribe and like this video. After all, there is more where that came from. There's still plenty of content on my channel about animations, cartoons, animated series, and other stuff. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.